Well, good evening. Welcome to the 2012 Adams State University Percussion Extravaganza. Thank you for coming. The first piece was titled Taiko. And how many of you have heard Taiko drumming before? All right. Well, we're playing on the instruments that we have. We obviously don't own Taiko drums. But Taiko drumming actually has an ancient history and was used in courts throughout history in Japan. And actually in 1951, the Taiko drum started to become popular, and groups that you've probably seen, like Kodo, groups like that, started taking the road and going on tour. So that particular piece was written as kind of an ode to the Taiko drum. The next piece we're going to play is a piece by an Australian composer named Nigel Westlake. And the piece is kind of a celebration of life based off of a painting by the artist Paul Klee. And I'm not an art scholar, so I've invited one to actually tell us a little bit about what you're going to see on this next work. And I'd like to invite to the stage Professor Claire Vanderplas to tell you a little bit about Paul Klee while we finish setting up.
He studied music and he loved music, but he decided to go into the visual arts because he thought there was more scope there for creativity, inventiveness, exploration, experimentation. Tonight's performance is going to show you either he was wrong or times have changed, because you will hear much evidence of inventiveness, exploration, and creativity tonight. Paul Klee said that drawing was like taking a line for a walk. The composition you're about to hear makes me think about taking a melody for a walk. But it's a walk that keeps circling back, a walk that keeps returning to its point of origin. It's based on a painting Klee did in 1939 called Omphalo Centric Lecture. The painting's composition is a group of distinct shapes or parts, each different, but each working together to create a composition, and each leading the eye back to the focal point, which is the navel. It's about focusing. It's about seeking the center of creativity. The images you're about to see and the sounds you're about to hear share many common properties. A liveliness, a joyfulness, but most of all, and most importantly, a masterful use of rhythm and pattern to create a really great work of art. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you. That piece is one of the standards in the percussion repertoire, and we percussionists, we have this organization called the Percussive Arts Society, which sounds a little hoity-toity for a bunch of drummers, but it's actually one of the largest music organizations in the world. And we, each year around October, November, have an international percussion convention, and that piece has been performed 5 times at that convention, making it one of the most performed pieces ever at that particular convention. And that's really like the Super Bowl of performing for percussionists. It's a very, it's one of my favorite pieces, and I've played it many times in grad school and professionally, and as recent as this summer with some professionals in a festival orchestra I play in. But I got to tell you, it was so much more fun playing with these guys. They did a great job on a very challenging piece. So if you can give the students another thank you. So this next work, well, again, I need help explaining things when it's completely out of my comfort zone. And in this case, I even need help with pronunciation. So the next work we're going to do, I'm actually going to ask Dr. Marjorie Harrington, biology professor here at Adams State, who is also one of our great members of our percussion group here. I'm going to ask her to actually pronounce the title of this piece as well as the composer's name for me.
The composer of Norrsken is Anders Astrand. He's a percussionist from Sweden who lives in Stockholm. The name translates as Northern Lights. And so because of the Swedish theme and the Swedish composer, it seems appropriate to say, Jag hoppas att ni tycker om det här stycket, which means I hope you like this piece.
So I should mention that Dr. Harrington, for the past 16 years, has done cancer research in Stockholm, Sweden. So she speaks quite a bit of Swedish. Now, it's about the Northern Lights, and again, I need help to explain what the heck those are. How many of you actually seen the Northern Lights live? I'm jealous of you all. Very jealous. I played this piece once, and I asked the audience, and everyone raised their hand, and I'm like the only one in the room that didn't have my hand raised. So I'm actually going to ask from physics and astronomy, Dr. Robert Stiles, to talk a little bit about what this phenomenon is. And then the piece we're going to play actually is a musical representation of what Anders saw.
Before I talk about science, I do want to say that I truly believe that understanding something about the science behind beautiful phenomena, whether it's the aurora borealis or lightning or rainbows, knowing something about the science behind them does not detract from the beauty of them in the least. In fact, I can enjoy the beauty of these things as much as anyone else, but also enjoy them on much other levels, on deeper levels or larger levels. And you will too, real soon, as soon as I finish with this. So with that, let's get into a little bit of science. So the source of the aurora borealis and the aurora australis that we have in the southern hemisphere is the sun, that huge body that provides the energy to run almost all of the life that we know here on Earth. It also is the source of millions of tons of charged particles pouring out of the sun all the time. That stream of charged particles is called the solar wind. And it flows out of the sun into the solar system, and one of the things it runs into is the Earth's magnetic field. Now, magnetic fields exert a force on charged particles that are moving, and it keeps them from moving across the field lines. They can only swirl along those magnetic field lines. And so, they follow the magnetic field lines up and then down, where they can get down towards the surface at the North Pole and the South Pole of the Earth's magnetic field. So that's where they'll channel down into the Earth, or towards the Earth, into the atmosphere. And in the atmosphere, those charged particles run into gas molecules. Now, how many of you have seen neon lights? Okay, imagine neon lights in the sky. You got the same idea. There's charged particles flowing through a gas. They run into those molecules and they make them glow. They excite them and make them glow. All the different gases glow in different colors. So when you have an aurora, you'll see lots of different colors, typically greens, that's oxygen, in a range from about 100 miles up to maybe 200 or so miles above the surface of the Earth. Down low, there's also purples. That is going to be probably the ionized nitrogen and the oxygen that it excites. Up high, you sometimes see purples as well, and that's oxygen atoms. Now, you can't really appreciate the extent of these lights until you get up in space up above. So I brought a little movie along for you, taken from the International Space Station. And here you can really start to see how big these things are. So the surface of the Earth, you can see the horizon right up there, and then the lights go all the way up about this high. So they start around 60 to 100 miles above the surface. They may go as high as 200 to 300 miles above the surface, mostly below the International Space Station itself. But taken over time, you can also see how dynamic they are. They change all the time. They're constantly moving around. So now that you know something about where they come from, you can appreciate not only their beauty, but also how they connect us to the rest of the solar system. We are connected to the sun directly. Auroras like this have been observed on Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So we share this phenomenon with the rest of the solar system as well, at least for the planets out of the other seven. So at this point, I'd like you to relax and enjoy the music and the beautiful pictures. Thanks.
this next piece needs very little explanation, and I can do this one. So I want to thank our guests for coming. You thought you were coming to a concert, but it was also quite educational in the world of art and sciences, and that's really what we are all here for. Anyway, so I think this next piece I will talk just briefly about. It's a piece titled Vertical River, and a couple of percussionists, well-known percussionists, one by the name of Blake Tyson. He's also a composer, percussionist. He teaches at Central Arkansas. He wrote this piece basically reflecting upon a rafting trip that he took down the Boise River, I believe it was. And he wrote it with his good friend John Parks, and John Parks teaches at Florida State. And the two of them are very good friends. This piece just basically tells that story, and it's going to feature Cliff Holly on vibraphone, and Ben Paden on marimba. Okay, we have one more piece for you. Did some 3 movements that we're going to play for you. And it's a very ambitious undertaking that we're going to do here for you. We're going to play a piece by the composer John Cage, American composer, and possibly one of the most influential composers for the percussion realm, and in particular percussion ensemble. John Cage, if you know anything about John Cage, you may have some very specific preconceptions about his music. One of the pieces he's very well known for that will actually be performed during intermission in the lobby by recent graduate Paul Covey, the piece is titled 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And it'll be in the lobby during intermission. I encourage you to experience it. This piece is actually the first percussion ensemble piece that John Cage wrote, and it's very old, and it's like the Middle Ages in the percussion repertoire, and I believe that's like it was written in 1935. So our history isn't that great. John Cage was kind of just a very interesting individual. He wrote a lot of his music for found instruments, for Eastern instruments and things from the East, the Orient, if you will. And he gives a lot of leeway to the performers. In fact, that's a big part of it. He's known as a chance composer, where he leaves things up to not just the artist, but to the situation. So no two performances of a lot of his music will be the same. This piece, on the other hand, all the rhythms are specifically notated, and everything that they're supposed to do is specifically notated, but the performers picked out the instruments that they needed to make the sound that they wanted, that they were hearing in their head. One of the other things that Cage is known for is the prepared piano. And this is a lot of fun. What you do with the prepared piano is you stick stuff in the strings so that it doesn't sound like a piano. And to find a said piano, we needed to not use a school one, just in case something went awry with it. So we actually borrowed this piano from Mark Eaton, a student here, who is actually working on a production of Robin Hood. He's doing the music for Robin Hood, and you should go check out the play if you haven't already gotten your tickets. But Mark loaned us this piano, and we got the idea because it had been sitting on his porch for a few weeks or months. We're like, that one's probably not in such great shape, maybe let us borrow it. So the students prepared that piano, and the middle movement of the 3 that we're going to do tonight is for prepared piano, and then the last movement is just a very exciting and interesting piece. And while that goes, I'm going to, while they're playing, I'm actually going to have some slides going to kind of tell you a little bit more about Cage. He was a great writer, he was a poet, he was a visual artist as well, and like I said, just was a very influential person throughout history. One other thing I want to add tonight is, I'm sure many of you knew or know about the recent tragic car accident that took place, that took the life of one of our faculty members here at Adams State. There were 3 other, in addition to his 2 children who were injured, there were actually 3 other people who were from Alamosa that were in that accident, that were hit in that accident. And they too are still injured and still suffering physically, probably mentally, and certainly financially. So we're actually, as a department, we're going to donate the proceeds from this concert to those folks. One of the members of Ross, I believe is his name, one of the members of that group of people who were in that other car, he's a drummer, and he plays professionally around in various bands, and he has a broken elbow and hasn't been able to play. And we thought as a group it would be appropriate to do that. So if you have anything that you would maybe want to give to that cause, we have some boxes that'll be out there at intermission. So check out Paul's 4 minutes and 33 seconds, and consider doing that. How are we doing over here? Excellent. I've been stalling, and I think they are ready to go. All right, thanks. We're going to take a quick 10-minute intermission to make a set change, and we're going to let our hair down for the second half. We start with the drumline, and if you've never heard a drumline in a room this size, you better come back because it's pretty awesome. Okay, and then after that, we're going to have some folk music from Guatemala, some marimbas that you have to hear and see, and then we'll close it out with some steel bands. So we'll be right back.
Our students get an enormous amount of one-on-one attention here at Adams State University. It all starts with the relationship with the applied instructor. That person is their private lesson teacher.
I started college at a private liberal arts institution, and I ended up transferring from there to here because I found that the professors here were just absolutely exceptional.
I knew almost the moment I got on campus that this is where I wanted to be. It wasn't just that the place looked great, but there was like this energy that everybody knew each other, everybody was friendly with each other. And once I met the professors, like I knew, because I knew I was going to get that one-on-one that I needed.
Through advising, we can really help students find the path that will most help them to meet their goals.
As an incoming freshman, especially if you're someone that plays multiple instruments or you're in multiple things, maybe you play a sport as well, Adams State really allows you to do all of those things and do them well.
One nice thing about being in a smaller school setting is that there are a lot of different performance opportunities. We have a number of ensembles. The number of ensembles that we have here equal in some ways some of the larger institutes that I've been at. And so it's nice to have that variety of ensemble here and the ability for everybody to be able to take part in them and to be able to perform at the high level that we do here.
One thing that's unique about our department is that you can do multiple things. You can be an instrumental major and participate in choir, or you can be a choral major and you can participate in marching band. And so what you do is you become very well-rounded, and that helps to make you much more marketable.
I know for me personally, when I started teaching high school, I was required to do music technology, I was required to teach guitar, I was required to teach classes that quite honestly at a large school, I was not required to take. And I think the opportunities here provide students with a broader background, which is really what music education majors need nowadays anyway.
Our students have outstanding job placement rates. Our music education graduates are teaching all over the state of Colorado and in other states as well. And in the last several years, I can honestly say we've had 100% placement with our music education graduates, which is really exciting. We recently underwent a $6 million renovation of our music building and our recital hall. And that included an addition, a 2-story addition that houses our new recording studio, a computer music lab, and several smart classrooms. So we have state-of-the-art technology and always the most current software.
I'm just really excited about what I've learned here that will allow me to do that very well. I'm excited about all of the things that I may be doing, and I'm just really thankful for having had all the experiences I've had here that will prepare me for any of those.
All right, welcome back. We are going to get it started with the Adams State Grizzly Drumline. This group has performed, and they're just going to play one of their cadences that they played all season. They have performed probably well over 20 times since the start of the year. This group comes together in the week before classes begin. They audition, they start learning their music, and off we go. I want to recognize Ben Paden, our junior percussion major here. Ben's been an outstanding section leader and took care of all these folks all season and wrote all the music. Anything that you heard played by the Drumline this season was written by Ben, more or less. I think Dr. Luttrell wrote a couple things, but the rest of it was Ben. So they're going to play. So one year someone asked, I love the Drumline, but I never get to see them up close. So here you go. And it's a piece that Ben wrote. It's one of their cadences that they would march to and from the stadium, from the music building to the stadium and back, and playing parades and that sort of thing. And it's titled Stormtrooper. There it is, the last performance of the season, and their lower backs appreciate it, and their core muscles and all that, okay? We have a very special guest this evening. I'm lucky enough this year to be teaching as a percussion minor Juan Francisco. And Juan Francisco actually performed on this stage about 5 years ago when he was still in high school, when we brought in a Guatemalan Rumba group to play. It was a group of high school students who played, and tonight Juan is leading a group. Now, instead of playing in it, well, he's going to play, but instead of just being a member of the group, he is the leader of this particular group. And we have a really rich community of music, and one that is often overlooked is the Marimba from Guatemala. And this instrument, the marimba, what you heard a lot of tonight, it's actually the national instrument of Guatemala. And you guys can come on out if you guys want. I want to introduce the Guatemalan Marimba Band that was here. So the instrument that they're playing, it was actually built in Guatemala, and there are several different types, and I have my notes here because Juan is sick and tired of me mispronouncing the town where Juan is from, many of the families are from, and it's Santa Eulalia. Eulalia, okay. And it's in the highlands, similar elevation to Alamosa, and again, they have a very beautiful, rich folk culture, and this instrument is very ancient, and we're going to let Juan and his group do some playing. high school or graduated from there. So, and I was lucky enough just the other night to hear, to be in attendance at a festival where there was one of the professional Guatemalan Rumba bands playing, and it was the happiest place I've ever been. It was just the happiest place. The music was so exciting, and the dancing was beautiful. So now we're going to actually switch to another national instrument of a different country, and this time it's the islands of Trinidad and Tobago. And if we can get the lights up a little for them so they can see a little more when they play. This is the San Luis Valley Community. Ooh, maybe a little less on the lights there. All right, yeah, we're kind of getting mellow there with the lights, and now we're good. Okay, this is the San Luis Valley Community Steel Band, and we meet on Tuesday nights for an hour throughout the semester, and we put together a tune for you titled Miami Beach Rumba. Steel band, and it's a little tight on stage right now. This giant screen here has to take up quite a bit of space. We're gonna switch. Yeah, we're gonna switch out the personnel real quickly. We're gonna play for you two tunes that I was lucky to perform recently at that Percussive Art Society convention. Spin Cycle by Brad Shores. He's a teacher and a composer and arranger, and actually Russell, somewhere in here, one of our students here, Russell, he used to take lessons from this particular teacher, Brad Shores, and we're going to do one of his pieces, and then we're going to close it out with a very, very epic steel piece that is just one of my favorite steel band pieces ever. Maybe it is my favorite ever. I know it was Cliff's for a while, as long as I found that. Well, it's Cody's at least. I don't know if it's Cliff's, but it's Cody's. So hopefully, as soon as we can get some musicians on stage here. Okay, I think I'm actually the one. I'm looking at an empty pan, and it's actually mine. And I think we have just 2 more people to add, and we'll get started. All right, well, before we play this last number, I want to thank you all for coming tonight and for sticking around. And how was the performance in the lobby? Did you? Awesome! All right. And I didn't hear a whole lot out there. Sorry, bad joke. So, again, thank you. We still have quite a few concerts left here in the music department. Tomorrow night is the guitar area recital, so if you like guitar, you'll hear them over in the Neon Auditorium at 7. On Sunday, we have Winterfest, and every student in the music department is involved in that, and all the faculty, and we perform for you. This will be in Plaquey on Sunday at, I believe, 3 p.m. And that's correct, at 3 p.m. And that's holiday music, and we bring that to you as a gift to the community. And we thank you for supporting what all these wonderful students up here do, and all the other wonderful students around the campus. So again, thank you for being a part of this concert this evening. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ben to count off the band. So much. Have a great holiday season, and good luck on